Okay, so we are finishing our gender differences in sexuality. So far, all right, guys. So far, on Friday we talked about the idea that men show greater sexual desire than women. Studies have proven that many, many times over. We also talked about that women like to emphasize committed relationships as a context for sex than men. Men are more into casual sex than women. Okay? But remember that this is not, guys, this is not saying that there aren't women out there that are into casual sex and there aren't men out there that are really interested in committed relationships. Okay, but this is generally speaking.
Technically, aren't there more female prostitutes than male prostitutes?
Yes, but prostitution is different. Prostitution is different. They if you talk to a prostitute, they will tell you that it's a business for them. It is not emotional connectedness.
Exactly. So it'd be more like it'd be more casual than it would be.
But the male wants the casual sex in terms of prostitution.
That's true.
Yes. They do it for the money aspect, and this is,
Like that means more men are paying for casual sex.
yes, more men are paying for casual sex. Yes. Okay, what I was getting to today, aggression. Aggression is linked more to sexuality for men than women. Men are much more aggressive when it comes to sex than women are. If you think about just the sex offenders as a whole, most of them are men. They are also the ones that's interesting because if you think about social norms and things, men are also usually the first one to make a move on things. So whether that be interested in dating purposes or moving towards sex or whatever, they're the ones that are going to be the most aggressive, and they're going to be the ones that make the first move on things. Okay. Interestingly enough, women's ideas about sexuality are more likely to change over time than men's. Women's ideas about sex are going to be more often. They will change more frequently than men. So they will change with society, with culture, situations. Interestingly enough, what event is the most likely thing? What situation that a lot of women go through that actually causes them to change their ideas about sex? Huh? No, I was thinking about younger. Like what older than that. Actually, you guys are going to go into it really soon. College. Have you ever heard of anybody talking about that there's lots of experimentation in college and things like that? Sexually speaking. Okay. Women are much more likely to change their opinions. I mean, like you have strong, firm beliefs about what you think right now about sex. Okay, and obviously you are very influenced by the fact that you're in a Catholic school. Okay, so whatever your feelings personally are about sex, but you are not saying that you will, but you are more likely. Women are more likely to change their ideas about sex. Because of the result of education. And the higher the education, the more, generally, the more liberated, the more liberal you are going to be about sex. So it's kind of interesting because the more education you have, it actually changes your opinion about sex. Kind of interesting. All right, last thing I want to talk about is something called the Coolidge effect. This is kind of interesting. Yeah, Calvin Coolidge, actually. Okay, so Calvin Coolidge, who's Calvin Coolidge? President Calvin Coolidge. When was he president? A long time ago. Well, hey, you know what? Their pictures were black and white for a really long time.
Fun fact, the first photograph, you actually like to poke a little hole in a dark room and you draw it.
Calvin Coolidge was the president at the turn of the 20th century, so 1900s. Okay, and there's a story that goes where he and his wife were visiting a farm, and I can't remember what farm animal, and I forgot to bring my iPad to look it up. But I can't remember what farm animal it was, but they were visiting a farm, and Mrs. Coolidge asked the farmer about what did she say? Something about basically how often this particular farm animal, I want to say it was chickens, I'm not sure if that's right. How often they mated, right? And the farmer was saying that it was very frequently that they were mating, and she's like, make sure you pass it on to the president, okay? When the president came around and was getting this tour, and I'm assuming the way the story was told when I read it, it sounded like they were separated in this tour, but the president came along, and then President Coolidge got that information, and the farmer did say, you know, that Mrs. Coolidge wanted me to mention that his animals were frequently mating, and he said, well, are they mating with the same female every single time? He says, well, no, they have different females every time. And he's like, pass that on to Mrs. Coolidge. He said, there's a difference. And he said, you know, it's kind of that you get used to the same person over time, and as a result, okay, newness, okay, new is sometimes seen as better, and it gets you more excited than the old. Okay. Now the reason I say that, and this is interesting because it was used to explain, for example, men's, particularly men. But women as well. The idea of getting involved with a woman and that idea of cheating, basically. So I thought this one was interesting. You guys are probably too young to remember this. Do you guys remember this picture? This was huge when it came out. I think it was late 90s. Who was the actor on the left?
A guy who was in a movie or a TV show. Yeah, I know. So this was a picture.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Okay. Hugh Grant, yeah. Some of the things that he's been in. I'm trying to think of what recently he's been in. I know he's been in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. He was in Notting Hill. He's been in a lot of kind of romantic comedies. He's British, by the way. And I cannot remember her name for the life of me off the top of my head. But this is a huge scandal because she was a prostitute, okay? He was caught, obviously, visiting a prostitute. These are obviously mugshots. Interesting thing, though, was that he was dating Elizabeth Hurley at the time. Do you know who Elizabeth Hurley is?
She was at Gossip Girl.
Was she? I
Who
don't
is she
remember.
on Gossip Girl? She is like the older woman that runs the. Isn't she like British?
Yes, she is also British.
Uh,
She's a model,
she's British.
a model and actress. Yeah, she's very pretty, right? What? I have to get another picture of Elizabeth Hurley because I need to post that up from this time shot. But a lot of people, you know, when this came out, and they're like, Hugh Grant was caught with a prostitute, and I'm not saying bad things about this woman here, but why the hell would you cheat on Elizabeth Hurley? She's beautiful. She's a model. She's an actress. You know, they're like, why would you do that, idiot? This is the Coolidge effect. Okay? It's the idea that newness and that difference, okay, gets things more interesting and your sexual desire increases. Okay, so, and part of it is that whole taboo thing, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this, and so that also gets the juices flowing. Okay, so, but it was interesting because, you know, a lot of people were like, you know, why would you, you know, if you hear about anybody, couples, whether they're married or not, that, you know, cheat on the other one, and you're like, why would you cheat on them? They were, you know, they were an awesome person, or they're really beautiful, and they're really amazing, and whatever, and why would you cheat on them? It gets to be this cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, they view it. If you talk to somebody who's a swinger and somebody who is very active in that lifestyle, they would probably argue that it keeps it fresh, even for their actual partner. Yeah, and so they'll say that, you know, them going and having relations with other people, well, they can bring that back to their own relation. You know, that's their reasoning behind it. Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts about the courage of that?